She had been wandering the streets all day, stomach growling, hands shaking, and heart pounding. Hunger had driven her to a restaurant where she foolishly reached for scraps, and now she was caught. "Who are you and what are you doing at my table?" a sharp voice demanded. Embarrassment and fear wrapped around her like a heavy cloak. She stammered apologies, expecting scorn or punishment, but instead, she found something utterly unexpected. The man sitting nearby looked at her with a gentle curiosity rather than anger. "You must be very hungry. You can eat, we don't mind," he said. Confused, grateful, and slightly bewildered, she hesitated, unsure if kindness was real. Then came an offer that seemed impossible, a job, a chance to step out of the shadow of survival into the light of stability. For a moment, the world shifted beneath her feet, and she felt the thrill of hope, the fragile sense that maybe, just maybe, life could be different. This opportunity, this unexpected compassion, felt like a door opening to a new world she had never dared to dream about, and for the first time in a long while, she allowed herself to believe. Her hands shook as she polished the silver, every sound in the grand house sending her heart racing. Then she heard it, a voice she had sworn she would never hear again. Ben. The man from whom she had fled, the source of countless nights filled with terror and dread. Her breath caught in her throat, and panic clawed at her chest. She froze, hiding behind a veil of calm as he approached, unaware of the storm he stirred. Every instinct screamed to run, yet she knew there was nowhere to hide. When her employer introduced him as his trusted business partner, a knot of fear tightened in her stomach. She was trapped between the man who had once held her life in his hands and the one who had offered her safety and trust. She could only nod politely, forcing a smile, praying he would not recognize her, praying her past would remain hidden. And yet, through the tension, a soft reassurance from her employer broke through, the promise that she was safe now, that no harm would come to her under his watch. It was the first time in so long that she felt a small flicker of relief amidst the fear. Days turned into weeks, and slowly, the boundaries of her new life began to blur. She noticed the way he lingered in conversation, how he sought her opinions and shared details of his life that he withheld from others. He spoke of his fiancée with a forced cheer, yet his eyes often drifted toward her, filled with curiosity and something unspoken. Their conversations were quiet but intense, shared over laundry, dishes, and the simple rhythms of domesticity. She found herself listening to his doubts about the upcoming wedding, the subtle tensions in his relationship with Lily. In turn, she confided small truths, offered practical help, and found herself laughing at moments that felt impossibly intimate for a maid and master. The shift was delicate, almost invisible, an emotional thread weaving them closer without either daring to name it. When he rehearsed his vows, her pulse quickened as he began speaking words meant for another, yet filled with his genuine heart. The air between them was charged, an unspoken understanding building with every glance and gentle smile. And even though fear of the past lingered, a strange warmth grew in her chest, a recognition that something profound was taking root in the quiet corners of their shared days. Tension erupted suddenly, like a storm breaking over calm waters. Lily's jealousy surfaced with venom, sharp words cutting through the air as she cornered the maid in private. "Stay away from him, or I'll tell Ben everything," she hissed, her voice dripping with threats. The maid's stomach sank, heart hammering as the danger of her past loomed larger than ever. Every instinct screamed to flee, to protect the man who had unwittingly become her safe harbor. She glanced at him, longing to explain, but fear clamped her lips shut. She realized that staying meant risking exposure to Ben, and she could not allow harm to come to him. With a heavy heart, she made the decision to vanish from the house, to remove herself from the web of jealousy, deceit, and danger, even though her feelings for him pulled at her with relentless strength. As she walked away, each step was a mix of sorrow and determination, leaving behind the warmth of companionship she had only just begun to understand. The city swallowed her in its shadows, yet her resolve burned bright. She would protect them both, even if it meant losing her own happiness for a time. The streets were unforgiving, echoing her solitude and fear. Then he appeared, Ben, more menacing than ever, eyes glinting with possessiveness. Her heartbeat surged in terror as he lunged, and she stumbled backward, desperate to escape. Panic made her stumble through narrow alleys, until a protective hand caught her, and then another, her employer, resolute and commanding, standing between her and the threat. Confrontation erupted, tense and charged, but he did not falter. Ben's threats were met with unwavering defiance and the looming shadow of justice. The girl's relief washed over her, mingled with lingering fear and disbelief. At last, the danger that had stalked her for so long was met with strength and courage. She could finally breathe, leaning on him, shaken yet safe. The realization hit her fully: her life had become entangled with someone whose devotion was unwavering, someone who chose to protect rather than dominate. And as Ben was driven away, the fear that had haunted her began to ebb, replaced by the fragile but growing understanding that she no longer needed to hide, that her life was poised to change in ways she had never imagined. He stood before her, heart heavy but resolute, realizing the truth he had ignored for far too long. The wedding had been approaching, vows prepared, yet his mind and heart had wandered elsewhere, always returning to her. Lily's selfishness and lack of sincerity became painfully clear, and with a courage born of conviction, he cancelled the wedding. Relief and disbelief intertwined on her face, but the recognition of love, the love that had quietly bloomed in their shared moments, overwhelmed everything else. Words tumbled between them, hesitant yet genuine, confessing feelings that had been unspoken for too long. They held each other, not as master and maid, not as employer and employee, but as equals, bound by trust, courage, and the unexpected intimacy of shared trials. The streets, the dangers, and the mistakes of the past seemed to fall away, leaving only this truth: love had found its way despite fear, threat, and misunderstanding. And in that quiet moment, with the city around them, they understood what mattered most: that making the right choice, however delayed or uncertain, could change a life forever.